Today, we are considering Imperial President's scholarships. I'm not mentioning the word PhD along this line because I don't want those of you who are just bachelor's degree holders to be discouraged. The reality is that this scholarship is a PhD scholarship, but those who have got good grades in their bachelor's degree will also qualify to apply for this scholarship. Now, very often you hear people talk to you about how you shouldn't do well in school. This goes to our undergraduate students now, how you shouldn't waste your time studying hard, how you shouldn't waste your time, taking your studies seriously and all that and all that. The reality is that working hard pays. It will pay you now, it will pay you in the future, it has always paid, and it will continue to pay. So, if you have got a very good grade in your bachelor's degree, then you qualify to apply for this scholarship. And again, there are up to 50 slots that are up for grab just now. Right? So it's not like that narrow number. It's not a scholarship where you just have two people or a scholarship that is advertised for one person or for three persons. This scholarship is open and they are considering up to 50 candidates. They will consider more than 50 candidates, but the scholarship will be awarded to 50 persons. So if you play the game of luck, for instance, you know where you are going to fit into in a list of 50. But we are going to now look deeply into it, and then what the selection criteria will be like, what the eligibility will be like, what are the benefits of the scholarship, for how long will the scholarship last, where is the scholarship going to be taken, and all that kind of thing. How should you apply? We will also discuss that. So going forward, now this scholarship is only for Imperial College London. So if you are not interested in going to Imperial College, you can skip the video and keep moving. Keep looking at all the other scholarships we've talked about. But I see no reason why you should not want to go to Imperial College on a scholarship, on a full funding, because Imperial is actually a very reputable institution and one of those institutions that many people across the globe dream to go to. So when you go for this scholarship, if you win it, you're going to have full funding for your tuition. So this is going to cover your tuition regardless of whether you are from within the UK, whether you are from outside of the UK, from within the EU or outside of the EU. Regardless of what your tuition is, this scholarship is going to cover your tuition completely. Now, in addition to covering your tuition completely, this scholarship is going to pay you £25,150. You do the math in your local currency, but if you come from a country like Nigeria, at the moment, this is over 25 million naira in stipend, and this is going to be for every year. Now, again, in addition to that, it's also important to note that this is the rate for 2024 to 2025. So there is a big chance that if the cost of living in the UK or within London goes up, this amount of money might be reviewed upwards. Don't quote me for that. There is a possibility, and that's the major thing. Now, in addition to that, there is also going to be a £2,000 per year for the first 3 years of your studies that will be paid to you just for consumables. I'm going to now copy the link to this scholarship application and paste it on the comment in the comment section of this video so that anybody who is joining and who is watching at this point can go to the website and then have a look at the website for the details that we are discussing. Actually, if you've got any friend who is done with his master's degree or who is done with his bachelor's degree, or if you have anyone who is just doing his bachelor's degree at the moment, call them to this video, share this video with them, draw their attention to this video, because It's going to be both motivational, enlightening, and then educating at the same time. So for the undergraduates, these kind of scholarships are going to happen on a yearly basis. So it's not going to be a scholarship that happens today and never happens again. And because it's not going to happen once and never happen again, you know that even if someone hears about this today, the person still has a chance to benefit from this scholarship even if that fellow is graduating next year. So let's continue. Now, the scholarship is going to pay you over £25,000 every year. And then the scholarship is going to give you £2,000 for consumables. Consumables would be like things like your books, things like maybe your printing ink, things like, all that kind of stuff. But that's the amount you are going to have as a winner of this scholarship. Now, in addition to that, some schools within the UK, they have a very wide range of supports that's available to students. And this could include professional skills acquisition courses, things like maybe academic writing courses, CV writing, applying for jobs and all that kind of thing, interview tips and all that. All of these you will be able to have access to as a winner of this scholarship. And of course, if Imperial is organizing it, you know that it's going to be very amazing. So, how do you know if you are eligible to apply for this scholarship? Now, I must emphasize that this scholarship is really very competitive, but the number of students that are going to be taken under the scholarship is large, which gives you a very good chance of winning the scholarship. A scholarship that is offered to over 50 people or to about 50 persons is one that you should actually compete for, is one that you should put your application in for and then try to compete for it. Because if it was going to be just one person, then maybe you could say, well, I can't be the one out of the crowd. But 50, you should stand a chance to be one of the 50. So academic qualification, number one. This scholarship, like I said, is a reward for hard work, is a reward for, good academic performance, is a reward for excellence. And that's why the scholarship is meant for people who have got like a first class in their bachelor's degree, and then for those who have done like an integrated master's degree or those who have received a standalone master's. So if you have like a bachelor's degree, now again, there is also a condition I need to explain before we move forward so that people don't get these things twisted. So if you have a bachelor's that's a first class, you qualify for this scholarship regardless of whether you have a master's or not. But if you have a bachelor's that is not a first class, but you've got like a master's degree that's is an improved grade. So somebody has like a 2-1 in his bachelor's and then has a distinction in his master's. A combination of those two will also qualify you to apply for this scholarship. If you have done an integrated master's, that's where you do like a bachelor's and a master's together, and then you have distinction, you also qualify to apply for this scholarship. And remember that eligibility is across the globe, whether you are from Africa, Asia, anywhere, UK, EU, just anywhere in the world, you qualify to apply for this scholarship. Right. Now, where the candidate has not received his bachelor's but is at, is very close to completing his bachelor's, and the bachelor's that the person is completing or the degree the person is completing is going to be in that class of certificate that has been described in number 1 above, then that person also can apply for the scholarship. Now, the game is this person must have graduated before the deadline for taking up the scholarship. I hope you find yourself in one of those places. If you do not find yourself in any of those places, there are other scholarships we've discussed that do not require just a first class only. The other ones can go for second class and then all of that. But this particular one is a reward for for excellence. Then, other criteria. Applications are accepted from talented candidates from Imperial College. So, students who are graduating from Imperial can apply. Students who are from within the UK can apply. And then, students who are from all over the globe can apply. There is no restriction on nationality, although some departments may be unable to support international candidates. So, now what this is suggesting is that you need to look at your particular department. Most of the departments are going to support students from across the world, but some departments may not be able to support international candidates. But Imperial is a big institution, and if you go through all the departments in Imperial, I believe you will find one within your sphere of interest that is going to be willing to sponsor students from your country. Now, if you do not find your own course, there are other scholarships we have discussed on this page. Just go through the page, you will see series of live videos that we did. Each of those live videos are dedicated. Each of them is dedicated to like one scholarship or a group of scholarships that are open just right now. Alternatively, you can watch the video we made on jobs.ac.uk, and you will find other opportunities in the UK there. Now, the scheme is open to new PhD applications. So if someone has started his course in Imperial, that person is no longer eligible to apply for this scholarship. So the scholarship is dedicated to recruiting new students. And you remember, I did mention at some in one of those live videos that the UK rates universities based on their research output. And because universities are rated based on their research output, most of these institutions are actually trying to bring in more PhD students, more research-based students, through PhDs, through research-based masters, in order to increase their research output and improve their ratings, and then improve the amount of funding they're able to get from the government. So the school actually needs you. It's not like they're doing you a favor, but if you get into the school, your research output will also be doing the school a favor. So it's like, you know, a rub my back, I rub your back kind of relationship, symbiotic. Yeah. Then, how do you apply? Now, you need to have made contact with an academic, with a supervisor in an academic department at Imperial, and that person needs to have accepted that he's willing to, supervise you, right? Now, what this entails is, and this again is like going to happen across most of the other courses that you are going to be looking at, or most of the other scholarships you are going to be looking at for for graduate assistantships or studentship kind of thing. You need to like make contact with a potential supervisor within the school. Now, the question becomes, how do you find potential supervisors within Imperial? Two ways. Their names and email addresses and sometimes contact phone numbers will be on the website of the school for their department. If you cannot find them there on those on the school's website, then just go to LinkedIn. The video you see on the in the pinned comments of this video will show you how you go step by step. It will take you through a step-by-step system for approaching lecturers or finding potential supervisors using LinkedIn, how to approach them, what you need to do to engage them, and what steps you need to take in order to be able to win to win graduate assistantship scholarships using LinkedIn. And indeed, you can actually adapt this for every other social media platform. So if you are struggling with finding a potential supervisor, I recommend you watch that video, and then when you are done watching that video, finding potential supervisors and indeed getting them to agree to supervise you will no longer be a problem. That video again is pinned in the first comments on this live video. Go for it, check it up, look it up, follow the instructions that were provided there. So, and then the second thing you need to also note in this is the fact that having to contact a potential supervisor means that you need to plan to beat the deadline. You need to plan ahead of, to stay ahead of the game. right? Because if a particular supervisor is only going to be able to take a certain number of students within a certain period of time, right? Because their workload, they are not supposed to exceed a certain limit of workload. So if you do not get in touch as early as possible, a rival or a competitor, in this case very healthy competition, might have reached out or might reach out to the supervisor ahead of yourself. And when that happens, you can be rest assured that the supervisor will no longer be able to accept your application. And remember, Imperial is a very competitive university. Several people from across the globe want to go to Imperial, and that is why you need to act fast. Then the latest start date is going to be November 2024. So if you win this scholarship, you can be aiming to start your studies between August of next year and November of next year. So you've got time, but the application time is not as long as that. Then there is actually a website here, a link on this website that I've just posted in the comment section, where you can find a hyperlink to where you can find available supervisors and all of that. Then we make progress. So how do you apply for this scholarship? There are two. Basically, because this scholarship is within a particular institution, Imperial College in this case, there is actually no specific scholarship application form. So to apply for the scholarship, you need to actually apply to Imperial. You need to apply for an admission place within Imperial College, within one of the departments at Imperial. And then if you have applied for that place in that department, then you need to indicate during your application process, before you submit your application, that you will need or you wish to be considered for the president's scholarship. If you do not indicate that, you will not be considered for this scholarship. But if you do indicate that, then at the faculty level or at your departmental level, the admission panel is going to look into your application and then rate your application against those other students who have applied for placement for a place within that department and who have also indicated interest in this particular scholarship. At the end of that, they're going to do like a short listing of students and then forward it to the general university or college group that now makes the final decision on who gets the scholarship from all the recommendations of all the departments within the school. But then again, that's where the benefit of contacting a potential supervisor comes in, because your potential supervisor who would have accepted to supervise you is most likely going to be somewhere, somehow in one of these panels that's going to be considering your application. And then if that person is there, it becomes more like a confirmation that there is someone within the school, and then your research interest or your research proposal is actually considered a worthy proposal, something that is good enough to be pursued, something that is has the potential to produce results that will make impact, results that will fill up one or two knowledge gaps, results that is going to probably transform the way we do things, or probably the way systems are designed at the moment. So having that potential supervisor's agreement is significant, could have a significant impact on the success of your application. So additional admissions instructions for 2020-2025 academic year. The earliest start date is August 1st, like I already mentioned. But when you are applying for this your admission, you remember we said you are going to apply for admission, and then your school is going to review your application against the applications of other applicants, and then they are going to now rank your application. If you are shortlisted at the departmental level, they're going to send forward your application to a general group, a larger a group that is now going to consider all the other nominations from all the other departments. So while you are submitting your application, you will at some point be prompted to submit a personal statement. Now, again, personal statements, motivational letters, statements of purpose, all of these things are used interchangeably depending on the school. So in some schools, you're going to see it as motivation letter. In some schools, you're going to see it as personal statement. In some other schools, you're going to see it as letter of motivation or statement of purpose. In this particular institution, you'll be prompted to submit a personal statement. Now, for those who are interested in applying for this particular scholarship, your personal statement is going to be 2 pages. The first page of your personal statement is going to be the actual personal statement. And like I always advise, when you are prompted to write a personal statement, pay attention to what the website of the school states that they want to see in that statement. So they are going to they would want to see motivations for applying to Imperial College and for applying to the scholarship. So these are 2 things. One reason is, why are you applying to one aspect is, why are you applying to Imperial College? Why are you not going to Oxford? Why are you not going to Cambridge? Why are you specifically coming to Imperial? And then you will also need to state why you are applying for this particular scholarship. Now, in addition to that, you will also need to provide any other supporting information not included elsewhere on the application form. So if the application form has asked about your name, you don't need to repeat your name inside your motivation letter, inside your personal statement. If the application letter has asked you about maybe like your CGPA, you don't necessarily need to repeat your CGPA inside of this, because again, you want to make the best use of that 1 page to tell the people a story about you, or tell the people to submit an essay about you that will provide additional information that will now convince them, in combination with all the other information that you've provided in filling the form, to give you the scholarship. So you don't want to go repeating, things that you've written elsewhere, things you've discussed in other parts of the application. Then, when you have done that, the second part of your statement of purpose in this case will now be your research proposal. So the good thing about this particular scholarship is that you own your own research. So it's not like some other studentships that the lecturer already has a research project that's ongoing, although that one also has its own advantages, depending, because sometimes those are like direct industry research or direct industrial research, and then you'll be working on something that this is going to have an immediate impact on the industry, or this is going to be solving an immediate industry problem. Now, in this case, at the Imperial President's Scholarship, you have the right to choose your own research, and that is why the second page of your personal statement will be a research proposal. Now, what is the component, or what should be the component of your research proposal? You may submit. In your research proposal, you're going to discuss what you actually want to study. Now, this research proposal, it maybe not exactly in the form in which you'll be submitting it, but somehow along the line, this is what you wish to discuss with your proposed supervisor, because this is the research you want to go into. This is the area you want to narrow down on. This is the research question you want to answer. So a research proposal will generally have like an introduction. It's going to have like a proposed methodology. It's going to have like an area where you're identifying the research question you're about to answer. Is going to have like aim and objectives, and very often and preferably you should have like some level of references there to show that actually you've done some academic work, you've done some, academic studies to come up with this proposal. If there's anybody here who would, if we have like a sufficient number of persons that are interested in learning how to write research proposals, then we may consider doing a live session on research proposal, or maybe actually a Zoom session, because that might be a better way to, get down on the details of what a research proposal should contain. So if you are still with us, please confirm that you can still hear me. And if you don't mind, please let me know the country you have joined us from. I can see Beatrice says she can hear me clearly. Thank you very much for that. And then I also can see Jane, who had confirmed that she could hear me clearly as well. And somebody is listening all the way from Nairobi in Kenya. Someone else is listening all the way from Nigeria. Chidera, thank you for joining. And Winfred, thank you very much for joining all the way from Nairobi in Kenya. Thank you very much. And I hope Nairobi is cool this evening and everything is going on well in Kenya. I used to know a number of persons, not used to know, I still know them. There is a very hardworking guy I know from Kenya. Not sure which part of Kenya he's from now, but he is one of those kind of guys that does not give up on their dreams. And I met him while in Russia, and we still keep in touch. Yeah, so let's continue. You will have to own your own research in this particular institution. So your personal statement is going to involve an actual personal statement for the first page, and then is also going to involve a research proposal in the second page. Right. Now, after that, I have discussed how the review process is going to look like, how your department is going to review it. And then after your department has reviewed it, they will, send it to a college selection panel who is then going to review and then make the final decision. Now, what are those things that will make you stand out in this scholarship, improve your chances of winning the scholarship? The areas the scholarship is going to be, the applications are going to be judged against, or the judgment criteria, or the yardstick for deciding who wins the scholarship or who does not win, will be: number one, academic excellence, and then number two is going to be your research potential. And I think this is actually a perfect way to rate scholarships that are for research-based studies. The reason is that some persons will have very high level performance at their bachelor's degree, maybe have a first class, but they actually do not have such a research potential. Not because they can't, but because they are not interested in research. So there are people who have more interest in, working in the industry, going offshore, working on oil rigs and all of those kind of places, production plants, manufacturing plants, and all that. There are people who have more interest in doing those kind of jobs than sitting in the lab and then trying to do research, or sitting behind computers and trying to simulate one thing or the other. So it's going to measure your academic excellence as evidenced by your past academic records or your academic results, evidenced by your transcripts, and then relative class position, also going to be evidenced by the awards you have. I remember sometime, I think in 2019, I had applied for a scholarship, and the scholarship was looking at awards as a yardstick for judgments. And then my school, the place I graduated from, was such a school where, they really didn't value awards as much. So you could be the best graduating student from your department, and there is actually no award to, show that you actually graduated as the best student from that department. You could be the best student in, some kind of courses, and there is no award, and then it came haunting me at that time. Right. So if you are in a school and your school has given you any award of excellence in any particular subject or for anything that you've done, include those awards in your application. If you are in a school and then you know your relative position in the class, even if it's not stated clearly in your like on your transcript, say for instance your school rates your overall CGPA is 5, and then you had like a 5.99, and you are sure that nobody else had like a 5.0 from that class, then you are obviously the best graduating student from the class. If the school has not given an award to that effect, you could include that in your personal statement that, okay, you were the best graduating student in your class, evidenced by this amount of CGPA rated on a 5-point scale, which no other person in your class had. So your academic records, your awards, your relative position in the class, your distinctions, and all of that. So the number of distinctions you had in the subjects that you had taken, I think that is what this last one is talking about. Now, your research potential. What are the things that can actually demonstrate your research potential as as an applicant for a scholarship? Now, I want to also pause briefly at this point and then say a few words of advice to those of us who are still in our undergraduate schools or in our master's degree studies. There is nothing on this earth that should stop you from publishing a portion of your graduation thesis or your master's degree thesis if you have actually done a very good work. The reason you need to do that is it's going to develop a certain kind of skill within you to write academic papers for publications, and it's also going to help you sometimes negotiate your way out of test of English language requirements. It has worked that way for me. So if you have got like a paper published, it could be by yourself, it could be by, with some other persons in collaboration with your supervisor and all of that. But that paper can be a very outstanding evidence that this person has got a significant research proposal. And if you are able to bend your head and get this done, you'll be standing ahead of most of your mates, because not so many people do it. And even now that I'm saying it, I know that so many people are going to be doubting it, that, oh, this is not possible, the workload is too much, and all that and all that. However, we have had a practice on this page of sponsoring our outstanding followers to a training program on publication, on writing publications and writing journal papers. Right. So I think so far we have sponsored maybe somewhere around 9 or more persons for that particular training. The training is run by one of somebody I've known for a very long time, for like I think over 13 years now, and someone I know that delivers on quality. She doesn't just promise; she promises and then she delivers on her trainings. And then we've had that kind of partnership for this for the past couple of months, and we still intend to send more people for that kind of training. So following the page is more like we educate, we also try to help you stand on your feet when you need to stand. So the second criteria for judging your application is going to be your research potential. And your research potential can be demonstrated by the candidate's research experience. So if you have worked on any project before that involved lots of research, you want to say something about this in your personal statement, If you have interest in discovery, you can also discuss the things you are interested in. If you have got a research plan and then the contributions as described in your research proposal, so the quality of the research proposal you've written and you are submitting matters a lot in this case. Then the departmental statement, which also reflects on performance at the interview. So if the department is going to interview you, the department is going to include a statement in this in their nomination form that says this is how this candidate has performed and this is our rating of this candidate. So successful candidates will receive written confirmation of their scholarship. Any offer of a PhD place will be conditional on the candidates receiving the predicted qualifications. So if you don't have the qualifications yet and you are applying in the hopes that before that time you would have completed your studies, you will need to provide evidence of completing those studies before your place in the PhD can be cemented. Now, deadlines. Applicants who apply before 6th of November. So the deadlines are in stages. One is going to be for 6th of November. The other one is going to be for January 8th, 2024. The other one is going to be for 4th of March 2024. But the November session is November 8th, 6th, 2023. So if you apply by November 8th, 6th, 2023, your scholarship, you will be notified by January, end of January, whether or not you won the scholarship. If you apply by 8th of January 2024, you'll be notified by March, end of March 2024. If you apply by end of March, you'll get your notification by end of May. For me, there is no point rushing into submitting an application for November if you know your application is not ready. So if you stand a chance, or you know that you can pick up one of your theses, or you can pick up your graduation project and write out a research paper from that document, get it published before November, or get it at least submitted for peer review before November, and that is something you need to do. Now, you could also go for conferences and make presentations in conferences. That will also be some level of evidence that this person has got some interest in research, or a proof that this person can actually do research, and then the person can actually present his or her research findings to a public, to a group of people, or to the public. But then, if you know that you will be able to get a paper published before the January deadline, and that paper is not going to be out by November, I would rather encourage you to work towards the January deadline if your department will have the admissions open until January. Right? Because sometimes when different deadlines are stated like this, it means that some of the departments are going to be closing early. Of course, I want to secure the interests of, or the promise, or an agreement with a potential supervisor that he is going to be supervising my project. So because of that, I want to write up my research proposal quickly, follow the video that is in the pinned comment of this live session, and then follow the instructions or the guidelines provided there to get the interest and commitment of a potential supervisor. But then after I've done that, I want to see if I can get a paper published, or if I can, draft up a presentation from my thesis or from any other research work I'm doing now, make that presentation in the conference between now and the deadline, and then have that embedded into my application. This is going to be a boost to your application. I don't work for Imperial College, and then the things I tell you are the things I will do myself if I was applying. I do not represent Imperial. I do not intend to say that what I am saying was a cheat code provided by someone in Imperial. But if I am going to apply for this scholarship, these are the things I am going to do as a person. And of course, I've won scholarships in life, and then my PhD is currently fully funded by an institution. And so if I tell you that this is what I would do to win a scholarship, I think you will have to listen, and then you should do it. And then if you do those things I say concerning scholarships, you will come back smiling like many other persons who have taken advice on scholarships from me, and then all, of course, you would have seen a number of testimonials that have been shared on this page. So that's what I would do as a person, and I believe you should also try to do something similar. There is a section that talks about academic referees. I did not speak much about it, but you will be prompted somewhere in the application to provide the names of two academic referees. So when you are asked for academic referees, your academic referees are usually not going to be your parents, they're not going to be your uncle, they shouldn't be your aunts, they shouldn't be your brothers, they shouldn't be your sisters. They should be people who, except of course if your uncle was your lecturer, then, and even if my uncle was my lecturer, I would rather take another lecturer to, knock off the question of, I think, what will be called a conflict of interest, from my reference letter. So your academic reference, preferably the HOD of your department, especially if he taught you in any course, and then your number one go-to person as an academic referee should be your project supervisor. So if you, especially for situations like this where there is a need to prove that this person has got some research potential, your project supervisor should be in the best place to write an academic reference for you. So go to your project supervisor. I believe you must have kept a good relationship with him. If you did not keep a good relationship with him or her, then this is the time to go reconcile and then make amends. Because the truth is, you're going to need these lecturers not just once. You're very much likely going to need them again at some point in life. So make your ways right, build good relationships with your lecturers, and then get your academic references right, and drop the application. And if you follow everything I have said today, in addition to the guidelines provided in the pinned video in the first comment on how to get the interest of a potential supervisor, you'll come back to this page sometime next year to tell me that yes, it has worked, I have won that scholarship. If we have a lot of people who are interested in writing research proposals, we can run a session on research proposals. If we have people who are struggling with personal statements, we can run a session on personal statements. I've written a lot of them in my own life. I think I started writing personal statements as far back as 2015. And my personal statements have got me admissions in Europe, I've got me admissions in Canada, or at least one admission in Canada, admissions in the United States. I've got admissions like different places, and I know what it means to write a personal statement. I know what should be there, I know what you need to put in there, and then I know what you need to put together to form a solid research proposal. And that was it this evening. And I believe that all the undergraduate students who gathered together this evening to watch this live session, you are motivated to do one thing: go back to school, take your studies very seriously. And for those who have graduated and never thought of publishing their research findings during their undergraduate projects or when they were writing their master's thesis, go back, pick up those documents, write up a research paper from them, publish them. And I know for people who are in engineering, especially those who are in petroleum engineering, chemical engineering, and all the likes, there is a journal somewhere in Europe. I think it's called, it used to be Petroleum and Coal. That used to be the name, but I know that they were publishing papers for free. Actually, I even have some papers published there. They are Scopus indexed and peer reviewed. So, and I think it's funded by a country, I think Slovenia or Slovakia, one of those two countries. And then you have your paper peer reviewed, you have your paper published, you have the paper indexed by Scopus. So if you are struggling with raising money for publications in some of the journals that will charge you so much money, if you are within the scope that this journal covers, I will encourage you to give them a try. And that will be it this evening. Don't let any man deceive you that academics or that school is a scam, and do not let anybody deceive you that the hard work you put into your studies is a waste of time. There is reward for labor, there is reward for excellence, and this scholarship right here is a good reward for your academic labors and your academic excellence. It's going to pay you over £25,000. I don't know how much that is in your currency, but in some places that's over 25 million. It's also going to give you £2,000 on a yearly basis to cover your consumables. I don't know how much that is in your country. In some places, that's over 2 million. It's also going to take care of your full tuition. And then if you know how much tuition is in the UK, you know that that is a whole lot of money. At Imperial College, I don't think you will get tuition fees less than £20,000. I doubt. Somewhere in Imperial, you should be expecting to pay upwards of £27,000. And then if you add up £27,000, for instance, I'm not sure of that figure, to £25,000, and then add it up to like £2,000, you do the maths and then let me know what your answer is in the comment section. If that is huge enough to motivate you, if that is better than what a normal 9 to 5 job will pay in your country, then why not give this scholarship a try? Why not follow the instructions that we've provided here during this live session to actually put up a very nice proposal, put together a solid application, and scale through this scholarship. I want to wish you the best, and this was it this evening from Academy of Scholarships and Transitions, and we talk about scholarships a lot here. We do live sessions, we do short videos, we write posts, and the game is to ensure that you win a scholarship for your studies. I believe that the least reward for doing well in your past studies should be a scholarship to fund your next studies. And that is why I do a core reason for which I do all the things that I do on this page. The Rhodes Scholarship was published today on this page. Also look at it. Time wouldn't permit us to go in details to look at all the requirements that are there, but if anybody is having challenges with applying for that scholarship, please do yourself a favor, drop us a question in the comment section or in our inbox, and I will do my best to answer. I get very busy sometimes because I have a whole lot that I am doing, so I may not be able to respond to every inbox message instantly, but trust that one day it will get to your turn. Good night from this end, and if anybody has got any questions, please drop them in the comment section, and then let me just scroll through and see if there are any questions there. Any questions in comments, I wait to answer them. So I will stick around for like the next 5 minutes. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comment section. I will look at it. If you joined this live session and you did not like this video, you did not share this video, you did not tag anyone to this video, you do not well. Please share this video, tag someone, and then leave a comment, react to the video, and that way you'll be helping the page and you will be helping your friends as well. So today we've got 25 persons who joined us from Nigeria, about 11 persons joined us from Somalia, 10 persons joined us from the United States, 8 persons joined us from Greece, 8 persons joined us from the UK, some other persons joined us from Kenya, and all these other places. Thank you very much for joining. Like I always say, this is a global page, and we have audience across the globe, across the various continents of the world. If you did join us, please let us know where you joined us from in the comment section. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Let me just look at the comment section before I bring this to an official close. So, comments. Topic today. Oh, someone was asking for the topic. Meanwhile, we practically literally already completed the discussion. So I have just sent him a link. Emmanuel, I've just sent you a link to the video itself so you can watch it and see what the content is. Any other questions in the comment section? I can't seem to see any for now. And where I don't see any questions, I will assume that this session was well understood. So, no comments. No comments. No comments. No comments. No comments. Okay. All right. So, I will be bringing the session to a close. Before that, I want to say thank you to all the people who joined us today. And special thanks to all the people who reacted to the video, to all the people who liked, who shared, who commented. I sincerely appreciate you. And you guys are part of the reason we keep doing what we are doing. I want to wish you the very best, and I want to say have a very wonderful night rest. I will once again drop a link for the application in the comment section, and a link to a YouTube video I referenced in this live session is in the pinned comments. So go for it, apply, and come back with your testimonies. We don't just gather here to waste your time. We try as much as possible to give you the best, and that best you will get. Good night, and then see you some other time. Bye bye from this end. It's good evening from the United Kingdom. See you next time. Bye.